Welcome back to yet again another tutorial, and yes, we are proceeding with our CRUD operation series, and whereby in this we had already covered a lot. We covered the create, we covered the read, we covered the delete, and now what is pending is the update. So therefore, in this video, what we are going to look at is how do we edit and how do we update our data. So in our CRUD operation today, we are looking at the component U, which is the update. And in this component, we are just going to look at how do we then edit. So without wasting time, let me just go to our project, and let me just pick up from where we stopped last time. We looked at the destroy order delete. We are able to delete someone from the database. And right now, today, what we are going to look at is now how do we then edit. Now, still we are following the same steps. For you to be able to create an edit option, what we need to do first is to come here in our views, and then we first create a view or a bread known as edit.bread.php. So we are going to create our edit.bread.php file. Then after doing that, what we can do next is either you can create a skeleton, or you can simply come here at the student, which a student is acting as our our benchmark, and then we can copy everything, Control A, Control C, and then you take it to the edit option. So you just bring it here. Yes, so you can just copy everything and then you bring it here. So after copying and editing here, make sure that we are going to change this one. Instead of student registration, let us just say student update. So because we want to update or edit, you can say maybe edit student profile. Maybe let's just use that. Let me just say edit student profile. We are editing student profile. So edit student profile, that's what I have changed. So for now, I can first remove this action button, and I first leave it empty. I'm not going to touch the rest. Let me just leave that empty. And also maybe the other thing I can change here, I can just say this is the edit the edit page. That's what I've just changed. So therefore, you can see that what we have created now is a bread. Remember, when you create a view, as I told you in our previous tutorials, what you need to do, create a view, then from the view to the controller. But before we go there, let me also change this one. Instead of submit, let it be update, because you want to update. So I was saying, the moment you finish the bread, you know by now our next step is to simply go to the controllers, and then you can now update the controller with that new bread which has been created. Remember, we are still using the student controller. So therefore, we shall navigate a little bit up. There is a page known as the edit, rather a function which is called the edit, as you can see on line 51. So what we shall do now here, we shall return what? We return a view, and which view we want to return is the edit view. So this is what we are doing. Then after there, you must terminate. So you can see return a view, and then this is edit. But remember, if you can see this very clearly, when you return what you want to achieve, we want to ensure that we shall be able to first of all display the data that we want to return, and then after we can now be able to say, okay, I want to change this. Remember, editing means there is something which is already existing and then you want to just update it. But you cannot update something that you haven't seen. So therefore, we are expecting to have some data on that page called edit. Then from there, that's when you can now update. So what do we do next? We have to come here and we bundle some data alongside the edit. So we must come here and we use the function called compact, and then we return what? A student. Now, I know by now this must be confusing to you. Let me first take you to what you understand by now. If you can all recall, by the time we are creating the index page and we wanted to display all the students onto that page, what we said, we had to come here and we create a variable, and then we call our model, so that now that model can go and pick all the students from from the database. Then from there we use this model to bind this data along with this braid. So you can see we use the compact, and then this compact was used simply to pick all the students which are created here, because now when you use this variable called student, it calls all the students in form of what we call an array or array. So we shall have an array of students, and then we compacted it here. So the same way here in the edit, that since we want to have some data on this page, we have to come here and we call that student. Remember, we shall be editing each particular student, not students as a whole. We edit student per student on each row. So the same thing here, that in a function you can see that already these parameters are passed. So this one, it's not us who are creating it. By default, as we are creating the other one command that creates both the controller, the model, and then the migration, it also creates for us this. So what we needed to do just is to come and we bind this data together with this with this braid. So the moment you finish this, and make sure you save, for every step you do here you must save, so that you avoid issues of let's say running into errors which you do not understand, but simply because you didn't save. So make sure you save. Now the moment you finish this, what comes next is to come to our route, and then we update our route with that. So what can we do? We can now simply just come here, and then we copy this, and then we take it down, and then we start editing. So I'll start wherever there is destroy. I'm going to change this one to edit. So you do this to edit, then this one still edit, and then lastly you can also update this one to edit. Now I'm deliberate by leaving this. If you can see, if we can come back to our control, there is some similarity between the destroy and the edit. If you can check down here, the destroy also had something like this, and then we picked the student and we deleted him. Now when you have a whenever you have a function which has some parameters inside its parentheses, these brackets, just know that on your controller you must have something similar to this. So whenever we have something passed the other side as parameters inside the brackets of the function, so we must be able to maintain this slash student, because now we want to pick that student per his ID. That's why we are using this. Then remember, this is not a delete method, but rather we need to display just data. So instead of using this one as a delete, we are simply going to use this one as get. So instead of delete, let it be get, yeah, because now the get request is the one that displays data onto the page, not the delete. The delete is just used to delete data from the database. So the get method is used to display the data onto the page. That's why you're seeing this something like this. So the moment you finish this, and then you ensure that everything is okay, we need to first test. So how do we test? We need to run our application. So I'm going to run my application here by simply running php artisan serve. So you just give it some few seconds, then it will start. Now, but make sure that your XAMPP is running. By this time already my XAMPP is up and running. Even you at your end, whenever you're to develop any Laravel application, the first steps that you do, make sure your XAMPP is up and running. Now the moment your XAMPP is up and running, and then you run this command php artisan serve, not server, php artisan serve, then come to your browser, and then you can just run this. Remember, already when you have been running it, you have already, you have been already having this. But if you're new to this, you can just simply copy this. Make sure you copy only the link without the square brackets, yeah. Then you take it this side, and then you run it. So here it is taking its time. It's going to run because it's the first time I'm running it today. Oh, what is it? Oh, the database is not there. Okay. As of now, I changed my XAMPP. It was crashing a bit, and then I installed a new one. Now this new one, database is not existing. Whenever I run into an error, as I told you, yeah, errors are part of us, and you shouldn't be scared whenever an error pops up. You should just be instead happy because there is something new that you're going to learn. For example, right now I landed into this error. I know at your end you might not land into it because you haven't changed your XAMPP yet, but for me my XAMPP was a little bit crashing. I think because of a number of projects that I'm working on, so it crashed, so I had to uninstall and install a new one. So you can check in my databases right now that XAMPP is not there, so therefore I must come here and then I update it here. Yeah, now the moment you update to a new database, remember right now it is empty, so you must come here and you open another terminal. Don't close the other and just come here to the plus and open another terminal, then run this command php at sun at sun what migrate, php at sun migrate. Then you can even say this fresh, let me just say at sun migrate it. Okay, so we just migrate. Now after migrating, when I come back here and I run this, I'll be able to see something like this. But you can see right now that my page is empty because this is a new database. So I must come here at the create and at least create one student there. So I come here at the create, then I'll create a student, maybe called Mosh, and then he will have this email, and then the program is doing business computing. Then I hit submit. Now the moment I submit, I can come back to this. Now this is where I wanted us to be. So now we have this, and you can see right now what we want to see is when we click on this button edit, this route edit, it must take us to that page of the edit. But right now when I click, it's not linked. Therefore that implies that yes, we have created a route here, but we haven't yet gone to our page or our blade, and then we update. Remember, when you look closely here, which page are we using or which page are we on now? This is the index page. So you must come to the index page and you update this anchor tag. So when we must check for our index page here, and then you come a little bit up here, and then you update to the other route that we have created. So you must come here and you call the route, and then which route is the other one is called the edit. But since already it has something bundled, so we must come here and we say at student, which is a variable, then you must attach it with the ID. Why? If you can pick up from the destroy, we just say destroy, then we pick the student ID. The same way here, what we do, we just call the edit, then we attach the ID. Then from here you must come and refresh, then try to click on this link. So when you click on it, now you can see now it has loaded, and now we are on the edit student profile. So we are on to this page. If you can look up here, we are on this edit student profile page. But as I told you, we haven't yet seen any data here. I can't edit something that I haven't seen. So I must come here and I update these fields with the data which is coming from the database, so that I can be sure that, okay, now I'm seeing a student, let's say called Mosh, and his email is moshinjagenda7@gmail.com, and he's doing business computing. So I want to change him. Instead of doing business computing, I want him to do business administration. So that's what we envision to have. Now what do? We must come back to our bread, to our file here. Sorry, I will be calling it either bread or whatever. So I must come back to this bread. Then instead of us having this placeholder, we do not need the placeholder on the edit bread. Why? Because by default we shall have some data field here. So instead of us having enter your name, this one is very useful on the create bread, but this is the edit bread. So what we need to do, we must remove this the placeholders. You first remove all of them. Let's not have these placeholders. We remove them. Now after removing them, we have a new attribute called the value. So you must call something called the value, and then after calling the value, you must bring this curly. Then you say I need student, then to this, let me say this is name. Now let me first refresh and I explain something. When I refresh this, you can see right now I have student name as Jagena Motion. This is the student that we have created in the database. If you can check the database here, if you can check here and you go to the students, we have someone called Motion who is here. So we have picked him using this. Now someone might be wondering, where are we getting this? If you can recall very well, when we came to this this student bread, to this index braid, we had to come up with something called a for each loop. But when you come to this edit braid, we didn't now use a for each loop. Why? Now when we come back here to the controller, yeah, by default, if you can check closely, we didn't create this one as the way we created this student to this variable called students. Here there are very many, so they come in an array. But when we check here to our edit, it comes as one student at a time. For example, this is student. Now, since we binded this data together with this braid, so we can now simply just use this variable the other side into this braid, and then we just point to that variable that we want. So you just do the same. You can just simply copy this, yeah, and then you paste it to this, and then also paste it to this. Then you just simply change this one from this to email, yeah, and then this one is to a program. Then after that, make sure you save, and then come back here to hit refresh. Now the moment you refresh, now we have something like this. So it is from this point that you can now say, I want to remove, let's say, business computing, and then I want to add in something. So that's what we want to achieve. But right now we haven't yet created that function that is going to help us update. So we need to create that function that helps us to update. So remember, whatever you do now, yeah, you must keep in mind that already we are building on what you know. You must be building from the old data for you to be able to update, or rather, like, if you keep on watching video, make sure for whatever step that we do, yeah, for whatever step that we do in any previous video, it's going to be very useful, yeah. It's going to be very useful in the next coming videos. Without that, it will be very hard for you to be able to master these things when you keep on forgetting what we have already covered. So after that, what we are going to do next, we are going now to go and then we try to update. Yeah, we are going to go and then try to update. So how do we do so? We need to come to the student controller here, and then we look for a function called the update. So the function is here. So what do we do? There is something, remember already this one comes along with this, so there is no need of just calling a new variable. We shall just simply use this existing one, which is the student. Then you attach it to, there is a function called the update, which function is this. Then you add this, and then you add this square brackets. Then you can first terminate here. Now look at this line, make sure you have something like this. So you call the student, then you update, then brackets. Now inside the bracket there is another bracket called the square brackets, and then you enter. We have something like that. Then from there, what we do next, we come here and then we ask ourselves which variables, which fields do we have in the database. We have fields like name. Then this name will be assigned to now anything that is coming from a request. So this request will be for the name. I know this one is going to be a little bit confusing, yeah, but let me try to explain. Now remember here, we don't want to create a new data. We want to just update the existing field in the database. So that's why we are using this variable called student, because already we are using this parameter called student as a model. Now this student is representing this model. Then there is a function called update. Then from the function called update, we put brackets, and then we use these array. Okay, these ones at times are called array symbols, or they are called the square brackets. Now inside the square brackets, we use now these syntaxes. You use the fields, which is the name, then you equate it to a request which is coming from the user. So this is for the name. Then you can just simply copy this. Remember here we are not terminating. This is not a terminate, this is a comma. So you copy all this, then you make sure that we duplicate to two of them. Then we simply just change this one to email. Then this one is also email. Yeah, email. Then this one also email, and then this one also it is email. So oh, sorry, not this is program, sorry, not email, program. And then this one also is program. Then after that, now you can now come back here and then you say return redirect. Remember our return and redirect, so we can say return redirect. Yeah, return and redirect. What are we returning and redirecting? Maybe return and redirect. Sorry, where is our return and redirect? We are return and redirecting back. We want to see that change from there, so you save this. Yeah, we have already created, these are like 4 to 5 lines. Then after creating this function, remember our next step is to go and then we update a route. So we must have a correspondent route for that. So you come here and then copy this, then take it down, and then make sure that all this you update is to update. This one is also update, and then lastly this one is update. Then from here you must also change this one to put. Remember, as I said, each method is used for something. Now this one is for the put. Now after there, and now what you need to do next, we must go to the bread and then we update something here. For example, we must first of all update the action with a new route. Which route is this? This will be edit. Then from here you attach it with a student ID, because you want to update by the ID. Then from here you must come here and then you update. There is something called the method overriding. I remember I talked about this. Yeah, method overriding. Then this one must now be put, because already, if you can recall very well, in our blade, yeah, rather in our route, this method is called put. The same way we had the delete the other time around, this time we have put. But already in these methods of the form, we don't have the put method. We have post and get. So here we write post because it's the method. Now here we do method overriding to override this, and then we say we are going to instead use the put. Then from here, after saying we are using the put, we can now leave the rest as default, and then we can now try to go and then we check. Make sure you save and make sure you're having the same thing that you're seeing in the video. Then after there, you come back here and you hit refresh. Now let's try to change this one. Instead of business computing, let me say this is business administration. Let me say this is business administration. Then I try to update. Now when I update, if everything is okay, oh, there is something which is breaking. What's that? Let me see. The put method is not supported by what? The put method, they're telling me it's not supported. Yeah, okay, I think now there is something that we need to change. Yeah, but we need to be sure what exactly are we changing. This one should not scare you. As I said, for anything that happens, yeah, do not be scared, but just know that there is something that you're going to learn. Yeah, there is something that you're going to learn. So let me just look at this closely. This is edit. Oh, sorry, this was not edit. This must be update. This route is not edit. This route, if you can look closely, we had messed up. Now this is update, this is update, this is update. Now for me here, instead I had put edit. So we must come back now. You first come back and you hit refresh. Oh, first bring it back here, hit refresh. Then I'm changing this one to business administration. So let me change this one to administration. Then I hit update. Now you can see, even when I refresh, this one has changed to business administration. Even if I refresh like this, even when I go to the home page, yeah, this is business administration. So you can see we have successfully now created our edit, and then we have been able to update. So now this one marks the CRUD operation. Now someone might be asking, I know there's someone who is going to ask about this. There is something called the show. Now the show, there is this one function which I have not created. There is something called the show. Now show function is almost similar to the edit. Just the only difference that with the show we do not edit, we just simply display the data. But already the edit is doing that for you. So the same way we have done this one, we could now simply just copy this and then we take it here and then we just update like that. So now having said all that, that's what we have for now. I think now we can catch up in the next video, and in the next video we shall be now developing real applications. For now, just make sure that you practice that. We have completed our CRUD. Yeah, so let's catch up in the next video. Bye bye.